Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. Hope you are all doing extremely well this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whatever time it is where you are watching this YouTube video. So it's been a little while since we did one of these. This is an Ask the Fro, a Q&A. This is where you have questions for this afro and I'll do my very best to answer them. I had to check my YouTube videos to find out actually which number we're on. I think we're on number 18 now. So this is Ask the Fro number 18. So yeah, I've got loads of questions. Thank you very much for asking them and posting them. And if you have any more, put them in the comment section below. John will curate and collect them all, send them across, and I'll do my best to answer them in the next episode. So let's crack on. First question is from Harry M. Smith, and he says, "Where's Rita?" Rita, the relic guitar that I had, it was like a copy of a Strat. It was a Seafoam green Strat that I used on a jam video with Musicism ages ago. It was a really nice guitar. I put some Fat 50s pickups in it, some similar Fat 50s. And yeah, it was a really nice guitar. I really enjoyed it. It was just really hard to play. Or at least I didn't get along with it very well. Or maybe I just wasn't as good at playing Strats back then. But either way, it was like a copy Strat. So in the end, I sold it to fund my custom shop Strat, basically. I wanted to get a custom shop Strat, which is the one that I've been messing around with the pickups recently. I sold it to get that. And I also sold my American standard Strat as well in order to fund that. So yeah. In my eyes, it was an upgrade, but yeah, sorry to all those that were a fan of that guitar. It was a nice looking guitar, but anyway, that's what happened. Next question is from Alan Whittick. He says, "Beer, what is that t-shirt and where can I buy one?" Well, this specific t-shirt is from Urban Outfitters, but you may be referring to some of the new Sleepless and Beer merch that we just launched, which, if you didn't know, is going really well and it's been awesome and there's loads of cool designs and new stuff that's come out. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description box below. Shameless plug there, I'll admit that, but you know, thanks for asking the question. Next question is from Lijf, or L-I-J-F. Sorry if I don't know how you say that, I'm sorry. It says, "Hello. You said something about recording two different guitars for left and right. Could you tell us more about that? If you have two guitar players, would you both have them double track for one left and one right on different guitars, or just both their own guitar, one left and one right? And with one guitarist, would you do two different mics like on the neural DSP plugins?" Basically, I think you're asking me how I would go about tracking guitars. Generally speaking, I use, I'll double track. Most of the time, the main rhythm that you'll hear is double tracked, and it'll be two different guitars, two different amps. I just like blending. I think it gives you a fatter sound. So for example, like the 5150 and the Marshall JVM is two of the amps that I always used to blend, or if I'm using my Krakens, both my Krakens, I'll have one on gain 1 and one on gain 2, blend those. You know, basically just blend two different channels of amps. If it's gain, then you want two different sort of gain tones. If it's clean, it's the same idea there. Depends on what you're recording really. But then also I'll do the same with the guitar. So if I'm playing, I don't know, something in drop C, I'll use two different guitars that are in drop C just to give me a different texture on each side. I just think that sounds really fat and really powerful. Then I might add a thickener, which may go in the center, or it might be panned left a little bit or panned right a little bit, and that may sometimes just be single string to support the chords or whatever, or the riff, or it may be like an octave or something to fatten everything up. But that's generally what I would do when it comes to recording heavy guitars. I'll do another video on that at some point, but that's the general gist of what you're asking, so hopefully that was helpful. Next question is from Tarn1981 Tarn, and he says, "I want to see some skateboard footage, bro." Thank you for that. Basically, I've been skating loads recently since lockdown sort of thing started. I decided to get back into it.
Oh.
back in the day I used to skate a lot with my mates, and then kind of got overweight and then was too big to be able to skate, and obviously my knee injury and then getting into guitar and everything. But in the last couple of months I've just been really having a good time. Yeah, it's just been great to get out and just do some exercise and have loads of fun, and it's one of those kind of sports that you really have to focus on, and it really makes you forget about everything else while you're doing it, which I really like. It's a bit of like peacefulness in my day, you know. Yeah, it's challenging, it pushes you, it's creative, it's a social sport. When you turn up at the skate park and there are other people there you can hang out with and practice tricks together and stuff. So I've had loads of fun. I go most mornings now to the skate park, so I'm getting better, and I'm looking to film like a proper edit at some point, which it won't be anything like spectacular, but just for me to have to look back on and say, yeah, I actually enjoyed skating and got to a relatively okay level at it. So yeah, there'll be some footage at some point soon. Next question is from Vince80, and he says, I would be interested on your thought of this Mayones in comparison of an Ibanez, AZ or Suhr. I think they're kind of like, well, for one, the Mayones I know for a fact is the handcrafted, you know, they're handcrafted in Poland. I'm not so sure if the Ibanez AZ are. I think the Suhr are. I mean, that doesn't really have it has an impact on how good a guitar is, but ultimately it's down to the way it's designed and, you know, the QC point and, you know, the fretwork. And sometimes you get factory made guitars, or a lot of the time you get factory made guitars with fantastic neck and fretwork, which are great. Like all my guitars from Chapman are factory made, and they're fantastic. But yeah, I think the Mayones stuff is, from my experience, just absolutely outstanding. You know, the quality of their guitars is insane. The finishing is always fantastic. The playability is great. I think it comes down to the style of guitar you want to play, because the Ibanez AZ and the Suhr, I think, are a little bit more traditional. The Mayones is still quite a modern feeling guitar. I've tried an AZ once or twice, and I've only tried Ariel Posen's Suhr. I actually haven't spent a lot of time playing Suhr guitars, but from my experience, they're a lot more traditional feeling anyway, more closer to a Strat than the Mayones. It's still a bit more modern. Anyway, hopefully that answered your question. You know, at the end of the day, it's up to what you like in a guitar, but ultimately they all will do the same kind of job sound-wise as well. It's just really down to the feel and how much money you want to spend, because, you know, they're all different in price. Some more expensive than others. Next question is from Subliming Mule 63. He says, a while ago I saw you talking in a video about the way you set up your old Floyd Rose guitars now with Speedy saddles or something to that effect. What are they? I want to deck out my Floyd, etc., so it's easy to change strings. Yeah, they are called Speedy loaders, and I found them on an eBay store. I literally just typed in Speedy loaders, I think, or Speedy loader guitar, Floyd Rose saddle or something. And it came up, and there was just a small eBay store. They were £25 a pack. They did them in a black finish, a gold finish, and a chrome finish. I don't know if they still do them, but at the time I snapped up a couple of packs that I've got now on my Relic, and then one on my old prototype. And yeah, they're basically where you would normally use an Allen wrench to tighten up the clamp in the saddle of the Floyd Rose. It's hollowed out, so you just string it through like a string through guitar, and the ball end sits at the end. And some people have said that it's not very stable, or it doesn't really work for the tuning stability, but I had no issues, and it was really great. Much faster to string up the Floyd Rose that way. Really enjoyed that. I don't know why it's not used more like that. To be honest, that should be a standardized design in Floyd Rose, in my opinion. But oh well. If you can find that store on eBay, yeah, just search Speedy loaders or Speedy saddle, guitar saddles or something like that, and you'll probably find some. Next question is from Antonio Satola. He says, hi Beer, I wanted to ask, what is your level of knowledge with music theory, and what are the main things that helped you grow as a guitarist? Plus, do you look at the neck while noodling, improvising in any particular way? I don't have a huge amount of music theory knowledge. I only know the stuff that I know the best is things like intervals, you know, chordal, like basically any kind of listening skills, if that makes sense. So being able to identify chords and, you know, intervallic structure of chords and all that kind of stuff. I have really good relative pitch. Also, I've been told, or, you know, when I was at, you know, ACM or whatever. So I've really relied heavily on my ears to learn things and remember things. It's kind of like a muscle memory thing, but in aural format, if that makes sense. Just remembering things that I've heard, motifs that I've heard, or sounds that I would relate to a certain theme or vibe or whatever that I recall whilst I'm improvising, if that makes sense. Sometimes I'll just decide to go a bit, what I would say is like the Spanish kind of flamenco sound. I would go off on that tangent, which is kind of a Phrygian dominant kind of thing, or like the Arabic sound, you know, or I might go like Dorian funky kind of, I don't know. I just try and mimic those different, you know, moods and sounds that I've picked up and just recall when I'm improvising. And in terms of when I'm looking at the fretboard, I don't know really. I look at things like their shapes, I suppose, to an extent, and then it's kind of free form after that. Like there'll be one shape there, and then there'll be a little bit of like I'm just flying around, you know, sliding and playing different notes, and then jump to this shape and stuff like that. Especially when I'm trying to do more licky kind of stuff, they become more like formulaic shapes that I've sort of remembered. My favorite kind of improvising is the stuff like you may have seen at the beginning of this video, which is just kind of just see where it goes, see what happens. You know, sometimes you hit wrong notes, sometimes you don't, sometimes, you know, and I quite like that. It's a good challenge and always makes you play more musically, I think, because you have to think more before you play something. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Okay, well that about wraps it up for this Ask the Fro. That's number 18. Thank you very much for the questions. If you do have any more questions, please put them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them next time. But as always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea, and I'll see you all very soon.